Hi there. The following is a chat we had a Saturday or two ago that I wanted to preserve because I think it's interesting. I hope you do too. And don't mind my drunk-sounding voice. I was very tired. We had been going at it already for hours, and I was holding my eyelids open with toothpicks. I think it's funny, actually. But I'm not drunk. I don't drink. I just wanted to make that caveat. All right. Enjoy.
Crazy about the Silhouette Hills. Like, what's all that about?
Yeah.
They have some kind of a crazy, like, doctor. What's his name there?
Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name? Doctor something. He was
Hey, Greg.
He was on that island making all them weird creatures. And then, you got them. You got those creatures in Egypt and other countries where they're like half dog and, centaurs.
Oh,
I wonder if things like that really did exist sometime,
Well, I think I just heard Polly Girl. I'm here.
uh-huh. I'm here. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. Do you really think that centaurs and...
Well, I don't know. It's just like, they have such a rich freaking mythology, and it's almost like they really existed, like some crazy Doctor Who or whatever was messing around with DNA, I don't know, but we can do it today. So
Nature does a better job of messing around with DNA than anything else.
For sure.
Electrical discharge changes DNA.
Yeah.
It's been proven in the labs. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And these massive charges from the thunderbolts of the gods certainly did things to us, changed us in ways that we can't fathom at the moment. Changes in our brain structure, changes to our bodies, our
Motherfuckers.
Stop. Oh! Aye! Hold on.
Them niggas,
All right. Bam.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Electrical charges could change DNA and cause all kinds of things.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the creative force. So
That reminds me of this movie I just watched. It's called Bright,
Yeah.
and it's with this guy that's in it. Anyway, and it's it's like modern nowadays time, but I mean there's orcs and there's fairies and there's there's all the different kinds of mythical things like, and there's centaurs and stuff, and they're walking around, and they, for some reason, this movie pulls it off where it just integrates. It's like, what if all that stuff actually did exist and it still exists and we still live with it? And it's,
I know.
I mean, that movie. It was really cool to watch all that because it was just cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird idea to come up with if you think about it. Making putting a guy's torso on a horse's body.
Yeah. Well, not that puts a lot of gravity into the situation, but Richard Hoagland is convinced that Star Wars is our true past. Have you ever listened to him talk about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him? I don't hear about from him at all ever.
He's probably just retired, You know, I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while. You know, and he's got that.
People have great ideas, and then people have shit ideas. I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. People have pieces to the puzzle, but
Yep.
other things that they talk about are just like whack, like crazy, like not true. And you know, they think that because they've figured out one piece of the puzzle, that they've got all the rest of it figured out. And yeah, no, it's a little bit more complex than we think it is.
Yeah.
Occam's razor, unfortunately, doesn't apply when we're talking about the universe, and you know, so some historical events. Occam's razor doesn't apply.
You know, when you were reading, and you were reading how the mountains weren't, you know, they were twisted. You know, like,
Oh, I
and
know.
I was trying to picture in my mind
Yeah.
what that would actually be like to actually see what the wow, that would just what?
Yeah. Yeah. The Earth was twisted.
I mean, incredible power.
Absolutely.
Well, if the globe did flip, that would have caused the surface to bunch up in places and rip open in other places, and that's exactly what's described in these cataclysms that we've seen. Mountains would have been moved, but with the storms, well, yeah, that, and they would have been built by these supersonic winds, updrafts and downdrafts that Andrew Hall describes.
Right.
A lot of material is etched out of the ground in one area, picked up along with the bones and the meat of just recently killed animals and trees, and picked up, deposited by these supersonic winds, and turned into stone, and then solidify as mountains later on, you know, a bunch of days or hours later, after the charges have finished doing their work. Poof, you have a brand new mountain range because of the electrical forces that are going on. And make no mistake, when this flip happened, there was some major thunderbolts being thrown around.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing that could have made the globe flip, I think, is, well, only two things. Is a shift in the magnetic field that could have physically made the globe flip from north to south, or a body that's larger than the Earth, with a larger magnetic field than ours, oriented in an opposite direction, or maybe even not even necessary for that to happen, coming close enough to the planet to physically flip the globe itself.
Do you have any idea of how long that process took? I heard like it took 5 days, or no more than 5 days.
Well, if Squatter Man lasted 3,000 years.
No, I'm talking about the.
No, I'm just saying
the Earth,
these events happened very quickly, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, everything went in phases, you know.
If the Earth flipped, it flipped fairly quickly. You've seen the video of the T-handle in space flipping, right?
no.
Oh well, there's a video of a T-handle spinning in space on, you know, the Russians have a video of this, and it's just sitting there spinning, and then all of a sudden it flips direction. And then goes back to the other way, and then back to it's wild.
Oh, I'd like to see that. That's a real video?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
it's on YouTube.
Oh, I'm going to have to find that.
I just think about that shot though. That all the pyramids are north south aligned, So if that did happen, it happened before the pyramids were built. Well, that's one point about that.
Well, I read, I think, from John Cook that pretty much all the pyramids went up within the same 100-year period. You heard that?
No, that makes sense to me, though.
Mm-hmm. They all went up about the same time.
Well, I think the pyramids were built before the Day of the Centipede.
Day of the Centipede? What day?
When Anubis called on for the centipede to kill everybody.
Ah.
Yeah.
I don't know that story. Really?
I never heard that story, man.
Hang on a sec.
Where are you getting that shit from?
Egyptian
I
scroll.
never heard that story.
I'm just
Really? So what's okay? So why did he do that? What's the story? Why did Anubis want to kill everybody?
Yeah. He's just got a mean seed in him.
As the story goes, probably because everybody had gotten evil. You know.
Oh, you're okay.
Sepa, the centipede god of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know they had a centipede god. I did not know that.
I never heard that either, man. That's pretty crazy.
I mean, I know that, the beetle. I know they're into that, but I did not.
Great centipede.
Oh.
I've been busier.
I'm looking for the quote. Hang.
Very interesting. I mean, how come I don't know that?
All right, I found it here.
Fine there.
The quote goes, "I am Anubis on the day of the centipede. I am the bull who presides over the field. I am Osiris, for whom his father and mother sealed an agreement on that day, carrying out the great slaughter. Jeb is my father, and Nut is my mother. I am Horeth, the elder on the day of ascension. I am Anubis of Sepa. I am the Lord of all. I am Osiris." Now, carrying is sealed in agreement on the day of carrying out the great slaughter. That is the day of the great slaughter. They're talking about when the great flood happened, when the earth was formed in the eyes of the biblical people. That is the day of the great slaughter, the day of the centipede, when Squatter Man was at its height of power, when it was throwing out all kinds of synchrotron radiation. It had multiple segments, like we see the rock art showing all of the ladder of heaven and all of that. That's Squatter Man, and in it's one of the many forms, as Anthony Perrette shows in the lab. These small, very small discharges, they change very quickly, and they've taken video of it, and they've documented how they've seen the changes. They watch how it changes. But there's other things that they don't have in the lab that were around, like other planets that were around, that causes changes to the way it looks. So it's not going to look exactly like it was in the lab, but it's going to be very close,
right?
Because everything is scalable. I'm going to have to reboot. I got a problem with my mouse again. Screen, so I got to reboot. I'll be back.
Okay.
Everybody's having problems with their computers.
No.
I'm back.
The other one. Yeah, you guys chat up for a bit. I'm kind of engaged here.
There's this website. It's called the Zoo Universe, or Zooniverse, or something like that. Anyway, it's you get on there, and this is your average Joe, anybody, Joe Public, whatever. You have a computer. They give you, you learn this little program. They have this way, and they want you to find and catalog galaxies for them. And they give, from all these different snapshots that have been taken, Squatterman, you were talking about Squatterman.
Oh, yeah. It lasted 3,000 years. In a laboratory, it lasts split seconds. So you tell me.
How gigantic it is.
Difference.
The difference in the scales. They don't see it. The mainstream scientific community doesn't see the fact that these events are scalable, and we can test that in the laboratories. We can do experiments and show how craters are built and all kinds of other phenomena that shows that the universe is electric, but these people just won't pay attention to it because they think it's stupidity. Comes from Manuel Velikovsky. I mean, it's ridiculous, these people.
And I keep thinking, well, maybe, waiting for these people to die off, but they keep teaching the same stuff. So it's like, I mean, how long does it take for?
Well, there is hope. There is one of the lead people at CERN has looked at the electric universe and has seriously looked at it. So
And these, the vortex lines, and that sort of element of use in the universities, but it's still describing what we see. The we look at the stuff. So that's up to us.
But I mean, scholars are too invested in, even if they know it's wrong, they have to stick with it.
I've seen these lattice shapes, and if you put balls that are sort of the same as atoms, if you start stacking lattices of them, you've always got a shape in between the balls, and this is probably where the exotic vacuum object can stop. Possibly, this happens in chemistry. I think it goes along with the atomic theory that we like as well, the structured atomic model. So yeah, let's go for it. Yeah. They're popping up in every area that we're looking at now in astronomy, and it's explaining things that gravity doesn't. So we've got to keep this line of inquiry wide open.
Okay, I want to know why you say 3,000 years. Why it took 3,000 years? I mean, could it not happen quickly? How many people do you have over there?
I think it depends upon what scale the manifestation, and you get these massive void areas in the galaxy, don't you? And you don't know what's in between the galaxies really, in terms of matter, apart from the Birkeland currents. So these voids might be packed full of it. Who knows?
It was your turn to have a bit of a scrutiny.
Yeah. All right. No, that's about it really for now. I think that's all I want to talk about.
Greg is going to show us his.
But they are showing up in every area of our inquiry now. Of course, Buddy's on the same thing with his artwork, and plasma seems to be behaving in these. It's manifesting the same shapes as these structures, the vortex structures, and these are shown in the experiments. They seem to happen at all scales. So from probably cellular level scales up to our level scale, up to Earth-size scales, planetary scales, up to stellar scales.
God knows how big it could be huge.
And beyond. on every scale they seem to manifest, don't they? So
it's just how everything works.
they behave like standing waves, solitons. They don't seem to be affected by other things that affect time as we observe them. So we've really got to find a little bit more about the speed of light as well, in my view, because that isn't closed at all.
I agree.
I mean, there's super anyway. So,
Are you going to the nebula? You said really.
I was talking with Gordon and Jay Pershing in the chat, and yeah, EVOs basically are plasmoids, and plasmoids will penetrate through any material. I mean, if you took a pane of glass and ran it through, if you could physically run it through the center of our galaxy, through the plasmoid that's at the center of our galaxy, when it got to the other side, there'd be a great big hole in the middle of it. Pretty much. I mean, anything that goes into the central plasmoid of, as they say, in a black hole, everything gets ripped apart.
Now, okay, plasmoid, black hole. Okay, it's what is this? What is the center of our galaxy then? Is it a plasmoid?
Yeah.
And
it's a Z-pinch, and that Z-pinch effect will create a plasmoid when it concentrates all that energy into that one little point.
Right. And so okay, how come it's not a black hole?
We're circling a plasmoid, basically. The sun is a plasma, a ball of plasma, a sheath of plasma with a gas giant at its core. And it's, I mean, again, you take a pane of glass that's big enough and you run it through the sun, what's going to happen? You're going to have a hole in it. Right? This is what we're talking about. We're talking about highly energized electrons that'll just rip anything apart that it comes in contact with.
Wait a minute. I'm just trying to think of then what, like if that's in the middle of our galaxy, then there must not be anything, nothing can be close to it, or, I mean, how far away?
We see from images that they take of even moving images over time that they've taken of the center of our galaxy. They see stuff orbiting the center, and they call it a black hole, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a black hole. It's the center of the plasmoid.
Right. Right.
So is that sucking in matter, or is it doing both?
What's that?
Is that at the center of the plasmoid? Is that pulling stuff in?
Think about a Birkeland current, right? And a Birkeland current has multiple shells of counter-rotating drums.
Yep.
Right. Now you pinch that down in a Z-pinch. On the largest scale, you create a galaxy. On smaller scales, within the galaxies, you create suns and stars and planets and things like that during these electric discharge events, with lightning bolts that are hundreds of light years long, even thousands of light years long, creating suns and planets and smaller suns like brown dwarfs and all kinds of different sizes that, because of the electrical force, congregate together. Gravity's got nothing to do with that. with matter coming together. It's charge that makes
Right.
things move in this universe.
I agree.
Looking at the chat still, Shockwave a bit.
Did Greg? Did you find your pictures?
Yeah. I got it. Okay, I want to show you. I wish I had a better one, but you get the point here. All right. You know, things are always changing. Nothing ever stays the same, and it comes in phases. Even with nebulas that we see in space, they're constantly changing. This is one of my favorite nebulas right now. It's called the Eagle Nebula. Why they call it Eagle, I have no idea, because it looks like a
I see why.
Looks like a princess with like some wild-looking pet to me, you know. But it's the Eagle Nebula. You see what I'm saying here? There's her face, and well, you see, this is the changed one. Here's the one that has been. No, that's the changed one. Yeah, this was her like about a month or two ago, and now you can see how much it's changed. Now it looks like some guy with a couple of pigs.
And the other ones aren't?
What?
How come like this one is? Shouldn't they all be changing all the time?
Of course.
They all are,
Yeah,
but we're talking about cosmic scale time. We're not talking about human scale time.
That includes the one we're looking at. He said that just this thing has changed in a week.
In the last couple months. Yeah.
Or month or whatever. Months. But I mean,
isn't that freaking? Look at that. She's like diamonds for eyes. And these creatures.
Well, it's going to take us. It's going to take us. It's going to take us years and years and years of observations to understand how slowly that things move out there. Mm-hmm. You know, from our perspective, we're looking at a gas cloud that you could fit.
But anyways,
a billion of our solar systems going in a line across, you know, or more even. I don't know. But these structures that we're looking at through telescopes are massive.
Massive.
Absolutely.
You know, some of them can be bigger than our galaxy even.
Oh, absolutely, yes. They could be light years long. Yes. I just think it's cool that they always seem. See, here's the girl that is there. Sure, because this one here is really good too, but it's even better. What I like to do is just study the intricacies of them. Like, just look at this one, the intricacy of the shape on the left side of whatever that is, plasma, electrified plasma, but I mean, it almost looks like a living creature. You just study the image on the left. It's mind-blowing. It really is how these shapes look so alive to me. It's almost like a universe of its own.
Yeah, Shockwave, you check. Oh, yeah, you have. Yeah, I was just asking if you kept an eye on the chat. That was all.
Oh, yeah, that's important. Yeah, thank you.
Shockwave is a great name.
Yes, it is. Yes, I thought of that too the other day, Paulie. I thought, damn,
that's a great name. I mean, just saying the word shockwave, it just, it wakes you up.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty clever thinking there, yeah.
It's also a really bad Transformer, too. I'm totally into Transformers, so.
You are?
Oh, yes. Oh, so much. Oh, my God. I love Transformers.
Look at this. You see, I've always thought that icon up on top of that nebula looked like Lucy from Peanuts. Now she's got stars for eyes, so that's Lucy in the sky with diamonds, right?
It looks like a girl.
Yeah, it looks like Lucy. Her black hair and her little... I've always said that. What's Lucy doing on top of that nebula?
She's got a bird on her shoulder.
Well, I'll show you a better picture. I got a better one. Now she's got freaking diamond eyes, or star eyes. She never had them before.
Oh, look at that one. That looks like somebody's from behind. Like the back of somebody's head.
Hold on a second. Yeah.
To me, it looks like somebody holding their arms up to their throat and looking up in the sky, but the face is not really, let's say, normal. Looks like it's been beaten in.
I like to think that it's the back of their head.
Well, you can see the mouth open. It looks like it's open, and then the nose is missing, and the eye is like there's a pizza slice depressed in the face. Pictures and see, what you can make out of them, but they're just pictures of gas clouds, folks. Come on.
They're they're plasma. Your boy there from Thunderbolts says dust and gas says no, it's plasma. Seems like they're so uncanny that there are such these close to human forms in nebulas that it seems to be some kind of universal design. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And that would all come back to your ancient shapes, your triangles, squares.
Yeah.
All them. So if it doesn't fit into them, it would fit into them, and that's why everything would have a similar sort of look. It's like if you build a building,
Yeah.
and you don't build it,
You can only build it so many ways for it to work.
Yes.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Because it's so uncanny that these things look so much like living creatures that I can also understand the immense gravity they would have had with the ancients really close to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
How they could imagine, wow, that's a god, Yeah, but it seems the human shape seems to be like a universal object design in the universe. It seems to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And those stars actually look like tears coming out of the other eye, but that's okay.
Yeah, that is just so cool. Look, I mean, whether there's something on top or not, there's stars up there, obviously. So stars are being born in this. Is that what
it would take an electric discharge within the cloud to pull material together to then create a new sun or solar system or line of solar systems or line of new stars. But it would take charge to be moving through this. Obviously, there isn't at the moment.
Of course, yes. Nothing can exist without charge.
Yeah.
I mean, that pretty much goes without saying, I guess.
It's the universe. It's how the universe works. It's charge, the opposition of charge, and the potential between like charges also has an effect on charge, on a charged object. So there's all of that charge influence that the mainstream doesn't take into effect in cosmology. Just gravity and mass. That's all it is.
Well, that gas cloud does have a presence about it. Especially the pink one. See the rays coming off it. That was a good picture, Greg. Yeah.
I'm a visual kind of guy.
But I think it's they tend to take on animal forms or forms that we can comprehend and understand, don't they? And as the clouds drift along, they assume different shapes. And whatever's in your consciousness, they will fit to it. I think and that's what happens. Well, that's what they do. I mean, this picture, of course, it's lovely. It looks like some kind of animal farm somehow, doesn't it?
Exotic pets.
But things do assume a shape that you can really relate to. It looks just like it when.
It's just amazing, yes. That's for sure.
Sometimes you can defocus your eyes somehow, and things start appearing as well. Sometimes, probably not easy to do on a screen.
So what are you looking for now?
I want you guys to let me know what you think of the whole PELASGIAN thing. Were they the first white people on Earth, for lack of a better word, or were they people of color? I often wonder, how did we get so mixed up as one race? How come there's so many different versions of humans? But inside we're all the same. Did we come from different places? It just seems that would be the case, but it's hard to talk about race because you can say the wrong thing, get labeled a racist. So, it doesn't get talked about a lot, does it? But even more mysterious than that is, where did the different blood types come from? And what exactly is blood, and where does it come from? We know it's plasma. What else? It seems like life is in blood.
Oh.
I think they were. I think they were the first. They were the first of the more civilized, the settled Europeans after the Ice Age. I think they had societies before other people in Europe, and maybe followed the ice northwards.
I think way back. Sorry,
originally part of the. I'm not sure. I don't think they were the same as the Greek tribes because they seemed to be further north in the Black Sea, didn't they? Or even up near Crimea originally.
It came from the Ukraine.
Sort of places.
A place a place that the Sumerians called Arata.
Yeah, Arata.
Go ahead, Gross. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But it seems like the Pelasgians were they had a war with Osiris, didn't they? But they first originated the Greek pantheon before the Greeks did. That's the Pelasgians. For example, Saturn was probably a Pelasgian king. This is a theory. And he actually had a war with Osiris. So that's part of the Pelasgian. I'm sure you know about that, Greg, don't you? That's part of the Pelasgian myth.
Yeah, they didn't just pull those names out of their butts. They named them after something.
If you go back far enough in time, into the Crimea, in the Ukraine, you will find that the stories of beings falling from the skies came from that area. And the ones that survived were smarter than us. They had elongated skulls, and they brought civilization to humanity. They started mixing with humanity. At first, it was a law that they were not to mix with the black-haired, black-eyed people, but that happened. They created the white race. They created the Aryan race, which then in turn moved down off of the places where the ice wasn't, and they basically brought civilization to the rest of the world. These Pelasgians, yeah.
I think so too.
We know. I mean, we hear the stories of the Bible, the fallen angels. That's the same story, just changed around. We know the Bible did that big time. They've taken older stories and they've put their little spin on them, and they've changed the name to protect the innocent.
Making still like 2,000 years before Egypt. You know, they were seemed to be the first steel workers in the world, really, that we know of. I think they had forms of writing as well before anybody else. You know, how far they seemed to live in the lands vacated recently by the Neanderthals. And they had a very kind of wild pastoral existence. You know, very lived, didn't farm too much as just harvested the wild stuff and encouraged a bit of this to grow here and a bit of that to grow there. Had trade routes set up all over the place, and were very influential, really. That the Vinca culture right through Romania, they've got stuff older there than just about anywhere else. So as far as European settlement went, incredible. So yeah, the Pelasgians, they were certainly very influential, and you know, like you say as well, wherever these red-haired giants showed up.
Well, that's why they call them the Indo-European race, because they were spread out all over the plains of the Urals. They, you know, they're basically the Russians. They mixed with the Mongol races and became Russians. They mixed with the Indians and they became the Northern Indians, the lighter-skinned Indians. They mixed with the peoples in down in Egypt, and they became the Egyptians. They mixed with the people in Samaria, and they became the Sumerians. This is how it went.
Wow.
I suppose they seeded their population with the local women who they met, I suppose.
You know the origin of the Oracle of Delphi comes from the Pelagians, right? It was in your video, Greg.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Well, the Palladians were an offshoot of the Hyperboreans, or the Hyperboreans are an offshoot of the Palladians, and the Hyperboreans brought the Oracle of Delphi to Delphi, right?
Okay, starting to make sense now. See? Yeah, that's why I like Celestians, because ever since I picked up, I've been reading a lot of good stuff, and you know, you pick up a little bit here, you pick up a little bit. It's funny, the people who were of higher class called parte, well, that's party. That's where we get the word party.
Yep. And what do the elite like to do now? Not follow the rules and do their own thing and partay.
Partay.
With our money.
So, what were they called? The conehead, you know, the elongated skull people. What was their name?
Kings and priestly kings.
What was, they had to be named. They had a name for their, you know, what their. Did they have, you know, what were they called? I mean,
sorry, the priestly king class, and they were considered human. Arms, they had legs, they had, you know, they had mouth, they had, you know, they had all the things that we had. But they didn't realize after time that they came from a different world, like Mars.
But I mean, they must have a name for like who they are. Like, you know, like we call ourselves humans, they must have called themselves some, or we're, you know, Aryan or whatever. You know, we have.
No, Aryans are bred into existence.
I mean, they must have had a name for what they called themselves as a group of people. Is what I'm saying. Just that got lost somewhere.
Well, nobody knows. Maybe that we might find that in the Paracas cultures somewhere.
Yeah.
Because that's where the last of them survived to. They moved there and were finally wiped out. 2,000 years ago.
Do you think they were wiped out? Or did they just go home?
No, they were wiped out. Well, go home. They're not going home to Mars. They don't have the technology.
Oh, they're from Mars.
Or the sort of the old lands, the older lands got wiped out. But I think they successfully, mixed with whatever they were mixing with.
Oh yeah.
Another thing to say about that.
Think about the 13. Think about the 13 families that control the world. They're descendants of these people.
Right, and they do. Or I've seen things that some of these people they do have elongated hide it.
Hey, Paulie, have you?
You ever heard of the Fakawi tribe?
No, I haven't.
Yes, they walk around the desert and say, "We're the Fakawi."
Howie. Where the Fakawi? Oh, no. Oh, no.
But I mean, if the elongated skull people, if they were the ones that like created all the different races, all of the different races, there will always be like, I don't know, one out of 100,000 would be born with an elongated skull.
With 2 rows of teeth.
Right. That's right.
There's actual people that have been born with horns on their head. There's a lot of genetic
I know, that's what I'm
you might say
so
throwbacks.
Born with like elongated skulls. I mean,
And she'd been born with a horn on her head, a massive big horn crust, and they removed it anyway. It was I don't know if there was skull underneath that, but it was like she almost turned into a lobster.
ew.
Weird, really. Quite weird. What can happen genetically to you? I think she was a Romanian little person.
Yeah.
They've done an operation on it, because they tend to do that, don't they?
Yeah. So are they? Did they have red? They had red hair, right? Didn't they have red hair? Or mainly they were like, they were red. They were ginger type people. The elongated skull people.
They had red hair and red eyes.
Red eyes, really?
Were nice.
Ew.
You have go look and see how much red fleck you have in your eyes. That'll tell you how closely you're tied to those people.
I've got a lot of yellow in there beside the blue.
You have a lot of red fleck in your eyes? I don't think I have red fleck in my eyes.
Yep. Go look close. You'll see little flecks of red here and there. If you have a lot of DNA that is theirs. Are you Rh negative? I think you are, aren't you? Polly?
I don't like that. I just looked.
Did you?
Yeah, I have a lot of red flecks I never even noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably see a leadership class after all.
That's kind of trippy.
We're sorry, but
It's
Yeah,
not trippy.
Polly.
It's not trippy at all. You're our race, the Aryan race, the white race of North Europe and Europe itself, were born from coupling of these fallen angels and humans, the black-haired, black-eyed people. Period.
Oh, like black slime,
Black-eyed.
black goo.
No,
So the
Black
people.
Only-
there's people that populate the earth right now that have their genes express black eyes and black hair.
Oh.
Those are the
I see.
basically the and that's worldwide. Like
Yeah,
a lot of black-haired people, black-eyed people around the world, and those peoples were not messed with very much. Their genetics changed to match the electric environment that we live in now, along with maybe a little input of these people, because they moved around the world. They didn't stay in one spot. They spread around the world, and that's the story of Atlantis. That when Atlantis was destroyed, 5 or 6 people from each of that Atlantean tribe went to one place and another 5 went to another place and spread the culture around the world.
So
That's
are
the
you
story,
saying that
right?
Atlantis is actually Mars?
No, it's
Well, they're from Mars, right?
Some people
We-
do.
Somebody said
They-
they're from Mars.
they watched North America get devastated
By
by a thunderbolt hitting that side of the earth.
Oh,
All the way from this side of the earth, they could see what was going on because it was so big. You know, like
yeah.
a lot of the mountain range, the Canadian Shield was etched away, gone, ripped out.
So the landscape was totally changed. I mean, but okay, so they're originally
People that were there, what crap? I can't remember the name of it. It starts with a C, and they were alive with the mammoths. Oh my God!
starts with a C. Can't.
Yeah, the Indians that were there's a layer of dark mat in North America. There was life below that and life above that. Nothing in that dark mat range, and the Clovis people.
Yes, I was going to say.
they
Yeah.
were incinerated.
They were wiped out,
Yeah.
completely wiped out. North America was devastated from the
Plasma of it.
from North Bay all the way down to almost into South America, and I think South America was heavily devastated too at that time, because we know that Teotihuacan and places like that were thrust up 6,000, 8,000, 12,000 feet from where they were, which was about 3,000 feet above sea level at one point.
Wish somebody would make just to show. I don't know. I just would love to have a visual.
Oh, it would be the best movie ever made.
I would just. Oh. And that, that would also cause tidal waves and all kinds of stuff too, right? Yeah.
You bet.
And that would cause earthquakes too, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
I mean,
And volcanoes.
But this is
there weren't any before.
if Saturn is depositing this massive amount of water on Earth, what do you think it's going to do to the atmosphere that it's going through? It's going to push it aside, for one, and it's going to let the cold of space come down and touch the surface of the Earth. Basically, instantly freezing shit, which we see evidence of in the north, right? So, with a lack of atmosphere and being electrocuted and being frozen in place, how do you think the ice cap formed? I don't think the ice cap formed. I think it formed instantly with all of this water coming down.
Totally agree.
A lot of it. I don't know how fresh water, if it's all fresh water or what, but something happened very quickly to create that massive chunk of ice on the northern hemisphere of the planet that was there.
Yes, that was tropical. A tropical place that.
Yeah, and I think all the ice accumulation and depths that we see now are just not years, but they're storms. Each storm that runs through puts a new layer down, not each year like a tree ring.
Right. I agree.
So that all that snow, all the ice cap that we have nowadays could have accumulated after the massive melt that happened up there when the second event happened and melted pretty much it all. Because we know there was more than one event. We know that there was more than one event. VELIKOVSKY says there was 2 or 3 or something like that. And then in
so
Peter Mungo Jupp sees 5 events in the layers of the Middle East. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're spread out thousands of years apart. They could be, in from the same storm.
Well, civilizations rise and fall because of these events. So there has to be a lot of time in between them.
Yeah, I guess.
VELIKOVSKY talks about planetary ages instead of solar ages. One age is the age of Mars. One age is the age of Venus. When these bodies were causing problems to the Earth. Another age was the age of Jupiter. Another age was the golden age, the age of Saturn, that humanity grew up in, enclosed inside a brown dwarf star's outer glowing sheath, providing moisture in the air all over the globe, heat constantly radiated. It's the same temperature all over the whole globe. There's no way there could be an ice cap.
There's no bad radiation, right? It's shielded the bad radiation, so
it's shielding any cosmic radiation that wants to come in. This plasma sheath, just no, you can't come here.
So nobody would really get sick
or age very, very quickly. Yeah.
And so I want to know, like, where did like us the black-haired people, they were on the Earth, right?
Yeah, they were indigenous to the Earth.
This is where they came out and they evolved or whatever. So they were like the original people from Purple Dawn.
Well,
That's a good question.
I think humans advanced to the point of Cro-Magnon, not Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal.
When you were a kid, didn't you always feel some kind of like it was when it was blue outside? We call it the blue hour, right? Because no two are ever the same. There's some kind of an enchanting feeling that comes with that. It's almost like it's a reminder.
You mean dusk?
The blue hour, yeah. There's one in the morning before the sun comes up.
That's my favorite time of the day.
It's enchanting, and I think that's almost like a reminder of the Purple Dawn. That's
maybe. And what are these pictures of you're showing here?
Looked kind of Trojan.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying. The PELASGIANS were probably the ones that came up with Zeus and frickin' Kronos, and it got stolen by the Hellenes. Because the Hellenes came and the PELASGIANS were with Troy. Of course they were, because the Hellenes were taking their home. The Hellenes, they were bringing hell with them. That's just my opinion. But they're not indigenous to Greece.
Kavala.
I think they were the people of the sea.
The people that came and warred on everybody else in Egypt.
Like there were these people in Crete. I don't know if you ever saw this program that I saw. You probably did it. It's pretty popular. They found out that these people had abandoned the city and went up in the mountains where they had to freaking walk these real perilous ledges and shit to get to it because they were hiding from something or someone, and I think it was the people of the sea who were going around robbing and ripping, and raping,
Wasn't that around 1500 BC?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, well, what else do we know that happened around 1500 BC? Oh yeah, the Exodus.
Mm-hmm. Everything was all just like every man for himself.
The parting of the Red Sea when Venus flew over, and what else happened around 1500 BC? Oh, Sodom and Gomorrah. Mm-hmm. A lot of things are starting to come together that happened right around the same time And we know that Venus was responsible for, because Velikovsky's been telling us that Venus was responsible for the Exodus, so it had to be responsible for all of the other things in that area.
The one part that freaks me out is, where did that freaking manna come from? I mean, it saved their lives, right? They would have never made it without it. Every day there's manna on the ground they could just eat.
It came from the tail of the comet.
That
They were
so wild, man. That's so
they were
crazy.
complex hydrocarbons. Man can eat complex hydrocarbons. We can't eat regular hydrocarbons.
The next time it came by,
it's like
instead
oil
of
or gas.
hydrocarbons, it was delivering burning oil.
Fireballs from the sky.
Yeah.
There's legends and the Bible's replete with it.
There's something too about it saying that it had a really sweet odor. It had a sweet smell. I remember it.
Manna? Yeah. They had, for it to be edible, they had to bake it. They had to let it dry out and then bake it.
That's pretty amazing.
I think it's probably more a mushroom spore by the sound of that then. I think it could possibly a fungi, yeah. That might have come, spores come down, maybe. The fungi. Don't know.
What are you saying, Nick? It's hard for me to hear. You got kind of an echo.
Might have been some kind of mushrooms, fungi.
Mushroom, yeah.
That sprouted up.
I hear if they have bright colors, that means it has some kind of poison. But I wouldn't try tasting them in the wild. Forget that.
Well, there's good fungi and bad fungi, right? Just like bacteria, right?
Yeah.
Because some mushrooms you can eat, but others you can't. I mean, I don't know who the first guy was that decided that, he found out.
Well, there's someone's a sucker.
Might not have been very good.
Well, maybe it was, this mushroom, this looks good. I'm going to eat this. And then he just ate it and he was fine. And then he come across a different mushroom and he ate that. And
yeah.
But I mean, there's someone's got to die.
Well, he ate that one. That one didn't do nothing to him. But that one, stay away from that one, boys and girls.
Well, now on bugs, if they got red on them, leave them alone because they're poisonous. So maybe mushrooms are the same way. Maybe they got colors and shit.
Not really.
No?
Some do.
Okay.
I wouldn't take my chances, though. And I mean,
some of them are brown, some of them are white, some of them are yellowish.
Yeah, anything that's grown in shit, I'm really not interested in it. I'm not. No thanks.
Well, I don't think they're grown in shit. They're just grown in wet.
Yeah, they are.
That settles that.
Yeah.
Where do you think the saying "treat me like a mushroom" came from?
I don't know. I never heard that saying before.
What do you think about
God!
that theory that says that all these mountains used to be trees? Have you heard that theory?
Oh yes. And some people have gone way out of their way to dedicate themselves to this.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody treats me like a mushroom. They keep me in the dark and they feed me bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Next time, instead of falling in love, I'm just gonna find out that I hate and buy her a house.
Don't be like that. Don't be bitter.
I'm just kidding. No, somebody else said that. I didn't say it. I can't remember. I think Jim Carrey said it or something. I thought it was funny.
I never heard that before. That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's one of Rod Stewart's favourite sayings.
Oh, is that what it is?
Buy a woman you don't like. Yeah, find a woman you don't like and buy her a house.
Yeah.
Memory, he's bought a few.
Remember Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet with her bowl away. Along came a spider, sat down beside her and said, Hey, what's in the bowl, bitch? The dice, man. Oh, oh.
Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Was that Andrew Dice Clay?
Yeah, that was the dice, man. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him? Did he die?
No, he's still alive.
He's still around, yeah. He went through some hard times. He was stealing a lot of his material from big boulders, like that's on TV right now. These things got just like thrown for miles. You know, that must have been some kind of wind.
Yeah, over here where I live. I mean, you drive on the freeway and you look out over, it's kind of like rolling hills, or just rolling hills with trees, and places of oak trees here and there.
Yeah.
But there's just these giant boulders, just scattered, just random, scattered all over the place.
And it just when those things start landing. Yeah.
Some of them are just huge.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Well, that's what supersonic winds will do to a object. It'll pick it up and it'll just chuck it wherever it wants to.
And I was like trying to point this out. I was driving. I'm going, look at how strange it is that just these boulders like come just out of nowhere. Something exploded or something. Something humongous happened.
Huh.
So, sir.
It's really the thing that gets me is that even on the highest peaks of K2 and Mount Everest, there are sea fossils.
Yeah, giant clams. They're giant too.
And that boggles the mind. How in the world could that possibly?
Andrew Hall explains it, bro. Go watch some of that, some of his videos. Why are you asking the question then? You should know.
I never heard him talk about him lifting mountain ranges.
Oh yeah.
Really?
He talks about that all the time in his latest videos. He's showing you.
I haven't had a chance to watch for a while since he did the dragon thing.
I mentioned it earlier before. North America got devastated. The Indians in the Mahabharata say that two groups of peoples were wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Wiped out by the gods, by the weapons of the gods. They saw from India the mushroom cloud that was created by the thunderbolt hitting North America. It was completely devastated North America. It wiped out the Clovis people. It wiped out all the animals that were there. It took a long time for North America to become repopulated. Peoples moved up from South America that survived and repopulated North America. A lot of that happened, and then there was a lot of mixing from, as Raymond shows us, from the Chinese and the Welsh coming in and helping repopulate the northern part of North America.
I did not know the Chinese were in North America. It doesn't surprise me, though. They had those big ships. They probably traveled.
Well, I mean, what are Eskimos? Are Eskimos, or are they Chinese?
Yeah, well,
there's
a resemblance, I think.
Yeah, Ramon was saying the Chinese got us up to Cahokia as far as that, and went back again, left again.
Exactly. Where are you going now?
We're pushed out by the southern tribes.
There were 3 cans. You should be one.
Yeah, Grouch, they were pushed out by the southern tribes.
So,
and that's usually the way it is for everybody.
No,
yeah, I could help you. I could save you a lot of pain and a lot of money, but you're not going to listen to me anyway. So just go on off and do it. Find out.
Me, I watched my sister. She bit it every second she was
we can only teach them the basics.
Yep.
They have to figure out the like we did.
Did you ever see that sign that says, "Dear teenager, why don't you leave now while you know everything?"
Yeah. That's funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
I know everything.
Hey, you know what? If you stick your hand in that socket, you're gonna get electrocuted. What did I tell you? You know, I mean, it's that simple. But they still don't want to learn. I mean, they want to learn on their own by themselves the hard way.
Everyone like that. I wasn't like that. I learned to watch my sister get spanked enough. Like I know what not to do.
I must have been weird because I listened to my parents. I don't know.
I listened too. I listened,
Strange.
and I didn't want to disappoint them, so I was
Right.
very. Yeah,
Right.
I wanted to make them happy. So
Right.
Come on, Greg, you goody.
Well, I stole my dad's car once when I was 14.
I stole my grandpa's car too once.
Did you?
And I felt so bad. I
You
went
know,
I went up to the gas station and I put like 50 cents in gas just in case in case he noticed. I went like 2 blocks down the street.
Yeah. We went
Like, hey,
joyriding, and I came home a couple hours later, and he was sitting on the porch waiting for me.
God.
Oh, boy. But you know what he did? He just said, "I'm glad you're home safe." Don't ever did. I felt bad because I know
Yeah,
that I
I mean-
disappointed him. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
And,
really all it took for me.
It was odd from you when I did that too. I don't know what got into me. I don't know why I did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
And I was like, I couldn't get caught. I just couldn't get caught. I was
Well, you
worst thing
see,
I think I ever did.
maybe your parents trusted you. They trusted me. I couldn't betray that trust. If I did, I'd never be able to live with myself, you know? My dad was older. So as a kid growing up, I knew that, you know, I wasn't going to have the amount of time normal people had.
Yeah.
He was gone
The
by
older
the
they
time
get,
I was
yeah.
26. So, and,
Oh.
so I made up for lost time by by just being there for him, you know, loving him. It's hard for me to talk about. I'm still getting broke up right now just thinking about it. It's hard. Losing your parents has got to be the freaking hardest thing that ever happened to you. You know.
Yeah,
Or
Mom
maybe
went at
losing a
67,
kid.
way too young.
Your mom died at 67?
Yeah,
What did she die of?
pancreatic cancer, the most painful kind you can get.
Oh my God, yeah, that's awful.
God. What?
My mom had cancer.
She had a fucking
of
shit. She had a
bile
fucking
duct.
shit life, and she had a shit death too, man. Fucking.
Yep. My grandmother too. Well, actually, my grandmother, she was a fantastic person. But why did she have to? I mean, she had liver cancer, but then she had gallbladder. The whole thing just, it was like, what?
Yeah.
And she was like really loving that everyone loved her and she cared about people and she did anything for people. Like, why that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Life. It's life.
Yeah,
It's now part of our makeup that we're getting cancers and shit because of these cosmic rays that zip through our body and destroy cells and turn them against us.
Yeah, and how you deal with your stress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you keep it inside, bottled up inside, it's going to affect your body. If you let it go, 2 minutes later it's gone, and the other person knows that they did you wrong.
Yeah,
that's the way I am. I flash anger. I show my anger. I show my disdain for what was done, and then I'm back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hold on to things. But
Shoulder, man.
Someone muttering brick.
I don't hold grudges unless it's a repeat offender. Then I just say, I walk away.
Yeah, that's a shame on you if you're it's like I look at myself. Why is this happening? Because I'm letting them do it.
Yeah, just tell them to get stuffed and walk away.
Yeah, allowing them to be in my life in the first place. And some people are, hard to get rid of or turn your back on to. Oh, well.
I can't wait. I cannot wait until they document that whole 8 miles of that South American rock wall with all of those petroglyphs. I'm going to lay you odds that is a documentation of what happened. Maybe from day to day, week to week, I don't know, but it's a documentation of what happened all along there.
What? Okay, where have I been?
There's an 8 mile. They last year. It was the news broke that they discovered a wall of rock painted in red ochre that shows petroglyphs for 8 miles long, all along this wall face.
Wow.
This exposed face. Yeah, wow is right. And we've only had small glimpses of this thing, and it's just amazing. Some of the stuff that is on this wall looks amazingly similar to the stuff that's in North America.
What was I? I always try to keep up with those things too. Find that.
Well, Google it. South America petroglyph rock wall, 8 miles long. It'll come up right at the top of the feed. Yeah, you did.
Oh, you did a show on it?
Yeah, he did. You were probably there watching.
I don't think so. I would remember that.
Yes, I know very well about that. Actually, it's the subject of a show I did with Ramon. It was one of our better shows. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. I'll put the link in the description in case anyone's interested. He deals with that very petroglyph.
I don't know, I've always been interested in that King Arthur and Camelot. That. And
there, I threw up a link in the YouTube chat for Daily Mail news showing the wall, parts of it anyway.
How did they just discover this? I don't understand. How can you just discover something that humongous?
Well, it was discovered 3 or 4 years before that.
Oh, wow. And the petroglyphs, I mean, I think that's a language. It's like how, Sanskrit or whatever language. I think it's a language.
Like Rongo, I think it's a documentation of what happened. That turned into maybe a language.
I mean, they're pictures, but if they have the same kind of reoccurring picture, that picture means something specific.
Exactly, and then you have to learn how to vocalize it to say to someone else, this is what happened at this time. But everybody that knew the story about this wall, dead and gone. The meaning has been lost.
How could it just undiscovered for? I don't know.
Well, fuck, yeah. Amazon is huge. I mean, maybe a white man has seen this before, but maybe it was never reported, or maybe it was reported and it was, forgotten about, and but they didn't realize that it was so huge. Someone got a report, went and had a look, and they investigated a little further, walked down the wall a little longer, and kept seeing this shit. And I kept going and going, and they went, "Oh my God, we got something here."
It's got the zigzaggy lines, and then they have the other kind of lines that are like a kind of.
Plasma discharge channels. Maybe the squiggly line is separating days or events or something. It could be like a separator of time periods or something.
Yeah.
Or it could mean, oh, an event happened here.
An
Boom,
event
boom,
happened
boom.
here, and then
Yeah. And this is what we saw up in the sky during or before the event or after the event or whatever, what have you.
There's these big square or rectangles that are just big squares, like.
Yeah, and Raymond explains that a lot of these big squares have stubby feet, stubby hands, a head, and an antennae.
Oh, what?
Well, look at the it's cut off on the first photo with the guy walking by with the camera right up at the top left. But look down 2 photos below that, you can see that blob that's cut off. You can see there's stubby feet, stubby hands sticking out the top, and what looks like a head with antenna maybe, or a point in the center. And then there's a square with dots in it, with like a cross in it, like an X, and then above those there's squares with zaggy lines. This may have been how Saturn presented when things went crazy, when it started to break up. It might have looked like that, or the plasma around Saturn or went into a square, or like a pinch. We've seen these shapes in space before too. There's these square shapes with X's, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like.
There, and I see that there's a lot of those.
Yeah, and it changed over time. And Saturn, if Raymond is correct, broke up, created Jupiter, created all the other planets, or most of the other planets, and we documented it. We watched it from below. We were locked into polar configuration as all of this was happening. And then because of the proximity of them, and we're all going around the sun in the same area, they start giving off charge at each other when they come close. We got the battle of the Titans, the clash of the Titans, and in the Mahabharata, the battle of the gods. And we're describing the events that we saw in the sky to places on the ground. How weird is that? Oh, maybe some of the places on the ground were affected by the battle in the sky. That's why we associated with them with that.
I don't know where I was. I mean, I try to keep up with these things. I just really love kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool that I'm, kind of exciting for me because it's like, oh, something new. Wow, this is something I'm going to have to really get into. Started yet?
No, start until what, 6? Something like that? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care. I do like the commercials, though. Have you guys seen the commercials with Walter the cat? Oh, great. It's a, this guy's cat. His name's Walter. It's just cool. It's cool. I'm sure they're Super Bowl commercials. I had never even heard of them. So, really? I didn't know they were. Well, that must suck to be some guy that, that's the team you get put on. It's like, you know you're not any good. It is. Everything, no matter what it is, about money. Fun to watch because I'm heavy, I am watching.
It's been used as social cells in this country every Saturday when the lads aren't working. They're out spending the money. And it's between the gambling, the soccer, the drinking, and at night go out to clubs. So it's a lot of young men. They don't know anything about their environment or politics or anything, but they can name every player in the first division and how much they got signed for. And well, they kind of live the life through that. If the team gets beat on a Saturday night, they're in a bad mood. In a good mood if they win, and it's just an excuse for being unaware, like just plugging into the same soap every day for 30 years, an hour a day, and what happens at the end of it? Just a waste of time. But yeah, I mean, back in the day when sport was, we were a celebration. It were a time to be off work, and everyone played sport or watched sport or we watched it on TV or had some kind of sport involvement right through the community. Well, I mean, when I was a little boy, my grandma used to like watching the wrestling. So I can't imagine why she liked the wrestling, but she did. But so and then you get to watch the rugby league as well, and so it goes on. And it's a great thing, but it has been controlled by these people who it's like Colgate toothpaste get hold of the team, and it's just another multinational bunch of guys who are trying to launder some money or do something like that. I don't know what. Seems to be that way. These when players are worth like 100 million and things like that. I don't know how that adds up. But,
I've seen. Yeah, there's 17. There's 17 still watching. That's what it says anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to split boys and girls. I'm going to go and do some World of Tanks. Blow some pixel tanks up. It was nice talking to you guys again.
You
Well,
Nice
roger
one.
that.
I'll stick around as long as you're here. Okay.
So,
Roger that.
Later, everybody. Have a good day. Take care.
Bye.
Take care, Shockwave.
Yeah, the Toltecs. These are some strange dudes. Let's see what this says. The Toltec. The Toltecs were warriors. Their culture began in 950 AD, 2 centuries after the fall of Teotihuacan, and lasted till 1200 AD. The Toltec conquered much of central Mexico, the Yucatan, and Guatemala. They spread the culture of Teotihuacan throughout the areas they conquered. They expanded the mythology and worship of Quetzalcoatl, the southern plumed serpent, and the planet Venus. The enigma about these guys, other than they just disappeared, was that they looked to be pretty fearsome warriors, and all their statues are like 12 feet tall. Do you think they built statues of giants? Or are these kind of maybe life-size? Kind of seems that way, maybe. What do you think? Did you know that cosmologists have discovered a planet orbiting a white dwarf in its habitable zone? First hints of a planet orbiting in a white dwarf's habitable zone? Astronomers have found 65 evenly spaced rocks orbiting a white dwarf star in its habitable zone, hinting that a planet's gravity may be holding them there. So now the debate is on whether a white dwarf could house life. But you see, their model is completely flawed, so any results that they come up with will be just waste of energy. They still think stars are nuclear core fueled. They have a completely wrong model. There's no way they could ever come close. They might as well flip a coin. The only thing us Electric Universe advocates can do is hope that perhaps Thunderbolts will write an essay on it soon. That's the only way we can really get any good. But it's 118 light years from Earth, and it's just one of many. We don't know what a white dwarf is, but
I remembered thinking if there was a planet tucked up close enough to it, it would probably be all that it would need, and it would last for probably trillions of years, because I think they're pretty stable. It could be a utopia, and maybe is. It sounds very interesting. I'd like to get a computer program that lets you travel to these stars and see their planet systems and what the conditions on the planets would be. That would be great. But not until we get the right cosmology here would it be even smart to try. That's the shame. We're missing out. Well, that'll do it for the show tonight. That's about all we have. I must admit, this was one of the most fun live streams I remember doing. I had a blast. It was an awesome time, and everybody was right on cue. thriller's gone, babe. The thriller's gone away. The thriller's gone, babe. It's gone away. Oh, carry on. is gone, babe. Thrill is gone away from me. The thrill is gone, babe. It's gone away. Though I must carry on, oh, the thrill is gone. Though I carry on, thrill is gone. Thrill is gone. Thriller's gone away. Well, the thriller's gone, babe. It's gone away. It's gone away. No, I'm carry on. Whoa, the thriller's gone.
Well, I guess that's about all. You'll come back now. Here.